Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome, everybody. So glad to be with you. Another amazing Spiritual Rockstar podcast. Today we have an energy scan show with an amazing guest with beams with enthusiasm and energy and passion and gifts and everything. And I'm going to be supporting this amazing light being to blast out her gifts to the next level with some energy scanning today. And I'm looking forward to doing that together with her. And just as important for you to get to know her, this beautiful, amazing, heart-centered healer, coach, entrepreneur, and you're going to be delighted. She's so sweet. Is one of the things I love about her. I know she's fiery. She doesn't show that as much, and we might talk about that too. But like she's got the fire side big time too. So. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to sharing her with you, and we're going to get started in just one moment. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate Make Money meditation today. Okay, well, Jennifer, it's such a delight to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, let me share more about you through your information here about you. After a major pivot from the path of becoming a clinical forensic psychologist and many other twists and turns along the way, Jennifer Regler was brought into alignment with her deepest passion and guides others in doing the same. Jennifer shares her intuitive gifts and insight to assist those at a crossroads refocus on their inner essence. By doing so, she assists you to free your spirit, to direct the life you were meant to live. I told you this, feel that fire and that fear, free your spirit.
That's right.
She is a soul-centered empowerment coach at Lighting the Path, author of Embrace Your Power, a healing journey of self-discovery, and the host of Wisdom Speakers and Seekers podcast on Spotify, as well as Wise Women Wednesdays on YouTube. She inspires all to follow their soul's calling. I love that. Like that's what I used to say, like when I first started, that I was helping people to answer their soul's calling. So
yes,
spirit here, right? So all right. Well, so grateful again to have you. Always like to get started that the audience can get to know you a little bit better. We've had time to meet. I was even on your Wisdom Speakers and Seekers show, and so definitely check that out, everybody.
Yes, that was awesome, talking all about your sacred purpose with Daniel. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. And so I'd love for my audience to get to know about you and who you are, what you do with your work, and then we'll dive in from there. So I'd love for you to share that with them.
Absolutely. So there's so much I can share. There's, like I said, like Daniel had mentioned, there's been lots of twists and turns in my life. As we know, the path is not linear. And I started noticing, I guess, my intuitive gifts when I was 6 years old, and experienced the first death of a family member. There have been many more since, and many other forms of loss as well. But it started when I was 6, as far as I can remember. And I was just so keenly aware of the energy and presence of people that were surrounding me, and also other energies that were present as well. And really just tuned into how people were responding, reacting, that emotional upheaval that occurred, experiencing that loss, and in feeling the person that had passed around me as well. And then it expanded later on in other ways, which I later learned seemed that I resonate very much with the idea of being an empath. And that's just really absorbing everything, basically, like a sponge. and not really sure how to handle that. Everything that was happening to other people, I felt was happening to me. And at times it was kind of scary and confusing and unsure of what was really happening. And then I don't know if it was part of that or just being born later in life. My parents had me when they were older. So there's a big difference between even my siblings and I. And I just didn't seem to relate as well with my peers, except for those who were older than me or had the same kind of values and kind of drive to, not even just the drive, the vision or the picture of seeing the world bigger than what many would, right? Um, I just felt from an early age that there was so much happening in the world and with each other and how we were all interacting with it, that actually at the age of 10, I started conceiving of a book that I was going to call When Society Determines Your Destiny, because it seemed like there was so many different ways that society and conditions and culture and counterculture would try to teach us how to live and how to be, when I knew that, and I know we've all heard this before, that we're spiritual beings having this human experience, and maybe they're trying to teach us how to have this human experience, but it just wasn't always a good fit for, and not a good fit for everyone either. And I saw that people who were really enthusiastic about life, including myself, would become disillusioned or start getting confused about, the right and wrong, and who we were in the midst of all of that. We might be a different person with our peers and with our family and at work, and just become fragmented that way and kind of lose our sense of self in that way. And so that's why I talk too about freeing your spirit to direct the life you're meant to live, because of those times we may have become dispirited. And for myself, in my own personal experience too, having experienced domestic violence and working with others who've experienced the same, that is also very dispiriting. And having also Indigenous people around me, that I always felt like I had a strong kinship with Native spirituality, although I'm not Indigenous myself. I'm actually Canadian born, but South African roots, that their culture, not being able to speak their own language, and all we hear about with the residential schools. And actually here in BC last year, still finding remains from the residential schools. There were over 200 remains that were found even just last year. And it's still, so there's still a ripple effect of all of that, all that dispiriting of, people's culture. I know in America, when I hear people talk about their culture, they'll say like they're African American, or, it's always attached to something else. And it speaks to the wholeness of who we are too. But there's also a standalone spiritual vibe that we want to be able to keep intact as well. So decades later, 3 decades later, I did publish that book, and it was actually called Embrace Your Power, a healing journal of self-discovery, because during those 30 years, that's what really I decided was the message that I wanted to share, not to focus on what was wrong in society or what was bad or what might be harmful, but what can we do about it, how to respond to that, and how can we embrace our power, really, and come back into relationship with who we are, and reconnect with our higher power and the God of our understanding, and reconnect with ourselves, knowing that we are spiritual beings. I've also experienced myself, and for many others, what's been come to known as the imposter syndrome, right? That we forget our spiritual sovereignty, which is actually the antidote, and instead experience shame and self-doubt, and not sure, how to be a full expression in our lives. And that's what I become so passionate about in my work now, is people that have become lost with their vision and lost that drive to get that back, to come back into alignment, to refocus on that inner essence. And Daniel, if I can share, the framework that I like to use for that is passion. Reconnecting with that passion, that fiery energy that, I knew since I was young, about 13 years old. I wanted to be a guidance counselor specialist. And then I wanted to be many other things, but always related to helping people feel more inspired and empowered. And that's probably why the clinical forensic psychologist thing didn't work out so much, because although I was really fascinated with that stuff, even did my thesis on serial killers, believe it or not. I guess it was just understanding that darker mind too, and those darker drives, but coming back to the light, always coming back to the light. And yeah, just reconnecting with that, with the purpose. So with passion, I actually break up the word to pass I on. And that I is what I've been talking about, that soul's essence, the spiritual part of us, that spiritual sovereignty, our soul's calling, part of you that gets remembered after you die. And I mentioned about all the different losses I had. I get to hear what people say at the funerals a lot about the people that have passed, right? Or what they experienced with them, what memories they had of them, what they remember being like, and that celebration of life that we now call funerals, right? It's really transformed in that way too, because it is a celebration of who they were in your relationship with that person. So that's the I that we pass on throughout this lifetime. So that's what I help people connect to, is that kind of passion. And to be able to activate their soul's calling and fully embody their truth, so that they can be a full expression of who they are. And like we said, free your spirit to direct the life that you were meant to live. So allowing soul to lead instead of the personality and society and tradition and the authorities to, that soul is the authority, right? That you as a spiritual sovereign being is the authority, and you know what's best for your life. You know why you came here. It's just a matter of remembering that. And so I am so grateful to all of us that take part in that mission to help us all remember why we're here, who we came here to be, and what we came here to do.
That's great. So you actually published that book at 13 years old?
No, I didn't publish. No, that was at 10 that I conceived of it, but it was at 30 that I
30,
published
okay.
it. Yes. 30 years later. Yeah. No, sorry, at 40. At 40. It was 30 years later. At 40, which was 8 years ago.
That's pretty remarkable.
2014 is when it got published, and it was self-published. So it wasn't, one of those books that needs to become a bestseller or anything. It was actually used more for like back-end sales when I was speaking, or as a go with, like a kind of a workbook in a sense, because it's a journaling style book to go with the courses that I was teaching at the time, and it's still there, and yeah. It's available for anyone who wants one.
That's great. So yeah, wow. Well, you obviously, it's so funny. We've been talking, but but now that I gave you a chance to talk more about yourself and what you think about, like on a, like in this particular format now, it's like, I'm like, wow, like not only do I sense you're deep and wise, but now we're hearing it, right? So I love everything you had to share and talking about. Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's a great perspective that you see, and you have all these unique perspectives, like things that other people aren't thinking about. Like we all know about, like when you go to a funeral, that sense of like that what you're talking about, but to have put it into a conceptualized it in a certain way, and then we could feel the depth of what you're talking about too, is really, really cool. I really love that. I love too you're an empath, like our audience members, like nearly all of them are probably identify with being sensitive and empath, or the majority anyway. And yeah, I mean, it's so strong, right? Like last night, as much as we get better and better at protecting our energy and not taking energy on and everything, like last night I was tired, and then Deb wanted me to do a clearing, and like she had sort of this dizzy feeling going on, and like so I go do the clearing, I'm feeling it, I'm like, okay, I'm clearing it. And then, but after I had done, then I felt dizzy. So, but I was able to, I happened to be headed to the shower. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a shower and just rinse it all out with that intention and focus that way, then I was fine. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, we're so empathic, even when we're aware of it, we have the tools to work with it. Like it's still, it could still seep in. It's like that's how much as sponges we are, right? So it's like,
Absolutely. And you're right, Daniel, having that spiritual hygiene is really important, like to remember that we need to practice that spiritual hygiene of protecting and clearing and releasing and yeah, and taking the time that we need to for the downtime, because downtime is really essential as well.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, self-care is definitely huge, I'm sure, in your work as well. So it's like that's great. That's great. So passion of fire, and yeah, make sure you take care of yourself so you can bring your passion, your past eye on into the world.
Absolutely. Sustain ourselves so we can fulfill that mission.
And
Definitely.
you have these gifts, like you mentioned them, but like you have these gifts of tuning in and knowing things, and that you've had from when you're very young, and to be aware of that is really great. It's like uh, it's like you've had practice with it for a long time, like whereas some people, they come into the field, they're like, I don't know, I can't tune into anything, and they're very empathic, they aren't there already. So it's
Yeah, and they might actually know more than they think. I know that was true for me for quite a while.
yeah.
When we talked about clear cognizance, right? That clear knowing. And empaths tend to be the strongest channels, being clear cognizant, clear sentient, so feeling and knowing. And the knowing, we don't know how we know, we just know. So how do you validate that? How do you explain that? And how do you find trust in that if you don't know, like really the source of it or understand it? And then so there's probably a lot of empaths and other intuitive healers and coaches and so on out there that are very intuitive and just may not in, they intuitively know that, but they haven't really fully accepted and embraced that yet, right? And yeah, really claimed that.
Yeah, that is something that I've trained people to do for years, because I'm like, there's no reason why you can't be tapping into that stuff. Let's help you out with that. So
Yes, yes.
but yeah, so you're helping people. Getting back to how you help people, is you're helping them to really to unleash themselves, so to speak, as who they really are, and live their truth. And you have mentioned that, I imagine people you attract are empathic and they are multi-passionate. Is that right?
Absolutely. They are multi-passionates, they're intuitive coaches, they're purpose-driven entrepreneurs, and they're also mission-oriented helping professionals. I worked in the helping profession for over 25 years and always very mission-oriented. I'd only work for organizations where I really resonated with their mission, and then only stayed as long with them until I saw if they didn't fulfill that mission. Because working in the systems, you realize it's not really a system and it doesn't really support empowering people. It helps them along, it helps them continue to survive, but it doesn't really support them wanting to thrive in their life. And part of that too was getting people that were lost in the system out. And it's the same, well, not the same, but on a different level now, working with people who had a picture for their life and their vision and had this calling that they knew, that they felt that they were following. But we become good or great at a lot of different things, and we kind of lose focus of our potency, right? What we actually came here to do and contribute and be a part of and learn from and to be able to evolve and grow from. And so multi-passionate, we kind of dabble in a lot of different things and take like a million different courses and join a whole 100,000 groups. I'm exaggerating here, but you get the picture,
Not,
right?
not
Like
by much,
just
right?
more and more and more, right? Let's take it all on. And it's like, okay, then what was I doing again? Like, what was I trying to do? And that kind of happened to me, honestly, Daniel. So I restarted my business. It's taken different forms over the years, just as my other kind of career work did. And I got really excited about all these amazing people and entrepreneurs that I was meeting. And I was kind of missing my work families that I had, in the regular 9 to 5 kind of jobs that you'd go into a building and you'd have your people around you for several hours a day. Not the case when you're working from home and, doing that sort of thing. So So I was gathering my community, my people, the people I wanted to surround myself with, through different networking groups and collaboration events and leadership, soulful leadership retreats and things like that, meeting them there and then having all these wonderful one-on-one conversations, and then um, realize that I'm talking about doing all of these things, and yet I have all these programs that I'm not offering because I'm too busy talking to people and doing that piece that I really enjoy and is valuable. But um, all the programs that I wanted to get out there kind of fell to the wayside. So I humbly admit that, I have all of these things I could be offering people that are just sitting there, and I apologize for that. And I'm a little ashamed actually that I'm not putting that out there in the world to, not for me, but to be able to help others. And I know there may be a lot of other entrepreneurs and coaches that are feeling the same, like they have so much to offer, but then withholding that for whatever reason. Maybe there's something holding you back, or maybe um, some kind of excuse, some kind of block that gets in the way. Either we've created that and we're aware of that, or that's been imposed in some way. Like sometimes there's a health issue or a healing crisis of some sort that kind of redirects us back in our path. Yeah.
Right, right, right. So you work with people on a one-to-one basis right now? Is it?
Currently, yes. I did launch an online course, a 6-week course that was live for people back in January, and I'll be doing more of those kind of courses as well, where we do several weeks, really getting into things, going deeper. And there's a process that I take people through with that. And it's really looking at embodying leadership, whether or not you actually want to become a leader, but just leading your life in such a way that um, that is nourishing and supportive for you, and nourishing and productive, but that also is supporting to uplift humanity and help accelerate ascension, which I know everyone listening is all about too. So yeah, let's do what we came here to do. So thank goodness for the work that you do, Daniel, and doing those energy scans and helping uncover some of those blocks and get to what's real for people so that we can be in our mission.
Well, that's what's so great about you doing these shows and whatnot. Have you ever considered, like, because we're doing like intuitive, the scanning and stuff today, and I'm just doing intuitive business coaching too. Have you ever considered or done this yet? Having the formats you have to share speakers is great. It's one way to do it. Another thing that could be possible for you, because you are so passionate, like, I can be as well, like, hey, that's one of the reasons why I have a podcast. Oh my God, what you're doing is so important. It's so great. And like, right? I'm the same way that. So, and one of the things that you could possibly do that I've done a number of times is you could build an audience, maybe through like doing the summit format. Have you ever considered doing that?
I did, and it's a lot of work to be
It
able
is.
to do that. And there's further along, when I have an assistant that can help me with all the technology part of that, that would be great. And that's part of the reason why I started the podcast and the YouTube show as well, because it's similar to doing a summit in that, but every week I get to offer a messenger or speaker to share, their journey and what they've gone through, what lit their path, and the kind of message that they have for humanity, and to be able to inspire and empower others with their contribution. So I love the idea of being able to do that because, well, for one, it's an easier flow for me.
Yeah.
And that's time consuming as itself, other than having the summit. This year I'm participating in summits so I can get a real feel for that.
Mhm.
However, producing one of my own, yeah, maybe in the future, anything's possible. That's one of the things I always ask too, is what else is possible, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'd be open to the idea and have been, but I think that's why maybe the podcast and the YouTube show can lead up into something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I agree. And then, but I feel like, give it till, it might seem like, well, maybe years down the line, it might be kind of the idea, but like, I'm gonna like, no, it could be this fall, or the upcoming winter after that, or something. Like, it could be soon. I think you just have to commit. There are people I know that do summits that aren't like they're like, listen, like, I'm not working hard. Like, this is actually pretty easy, and they're
Yeah.
list and
Okay.
clients and everything. So it can be done. And this person's not even, he happens to get into the technology and stuff. So, but for people, I don't see that you're probably big on that. I mean, I don't know. Most people aren't anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just find like yourself a solid assistant, and you create it in a way that can be really simplified, then there's no reason why you couldn't do it. And again, the nice thing again is email lists still are important. They still do generate a lot of good and a lot of results, to be able to connect with our community, and then be able to make those offers and all that good stuff, to launch our courses and all the ways we help people, right? So that they can be aware of it and you can notify them. So
That's really cool.
I really got a vibe on that. And then, so it's just a matter of like, okay, I need to be, when I scan your energy, you're more multi-passionate. It's always about, am I grounded enough? Now you're going to be more grounded than other multi-passionate people in some ways, right? But you still have that level of ungroundedness. It's like the vibe I get is like, well, man, this is exciting. Let's get into that, right? Wait a minute, that's exciting too. Let's get into this. It's like all these passions are almost like our almost like our children in a way. Like,
Yes.
I want to be with you now, and like, I want to bring them all together for a while too, and let's have a party. And so it's just like a lot of connection is the word, right? Like connection. So with meeting with people, you're feeling all this connection. And then the thing is that I know that you probably would desire, and it's one of the things we talk about on here is with businesses, how can we increase sales? What are some of the ways we can increase sales? What do you feel like, if I can ask, because I'm guided to ask you, what do you feel like sometimes are the challenges you have with creating more sales?
Mm. Well, definitely being able to be in energetic alignment with the pricing and the value of what I offer, and still making it affordable to people that want to be able to invest in it,
Mhm.
and trusting that it's a positive outcome for everyone in that way. So,
Okay,
yeah, definitely that's a part of it.
got it.
And getting it in front of, the right people as well to invest in this program that are ready to do that,
Hmm.
and finding the right referral partners as well.
Hmm.
That's starting to come together.
Hmm.
I'd like it to go further, not just have people that can potentially be referral partners, but actually become referral
Right,
partners.
this is good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're passionate sometimes, if when they're is yeah, they are like, yeah, I'm theoretically this is what I'll be doing, and then I'm getting to it, and I'm preparing for it, and it's like, okay, yeah, like you're getting to that point, you're like, I'm just gonna do it. Oh my god, I just need to do it. Like, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for me, like, I make it really easy. I just reach out to people. Hey, like, hey, you got a great opportunity to make commissions. That is a big factor for some people. Like, they do like that. Depends on who you're talking to, but hey, you can make commissions, and to make it, rather than just a token, you can make it even very generous. And it just depends on your business model. But are you looking to get in front of referral partners to gain one-to-one clients, or to bring them into your course, or what's your
Into courses. Courses and group coaching programs.
Great. So you can give a generous amount, for that, and then then it's up to you. Like, some people are just like, okay, of course, and that's what I pay, and that's it. And then we're done. And if they stay clients, then I'm generating all the big bucks and everything from there, which is fine if that's what you want to do. That's what most people do. But you can also set up a model. Like there's been times I don't do it currently, but I pay on like 2 levels. But like, okay, if they do a first thing and then they do the next thing, right away, basically, I'm going to pay on all that. But like I've even done like up to a year, worth of paying out. Then there's people even do lifetime, like there's not that many people that do that, but there are some people that like to get into that. And I know this one guy is like, he does bonuses, and if you get enough points with your sales, you're going to get a car and, all this stuff. Like it's really elaborate, right? So for people that get into it. So it has to do with what aligns, right? So it's just all about
Yes.
what aligns for you. But yeah, that's why I really like the idea of, yeah, I mean, because you have different formats to feature people on, I think you've got a lot of contacts right there. And just a matter of just saying, hey, I literally just want to be able to partner with you, be able to share my offer with your audience. So it's a matter of how you want to do that. Do you want to do it? What's the most effective way for your courses? So is that like, what is your course? Because you're multi-passionate, you may need to, I'm tuning into this, like you might have one or two you do consistently, but then you're going to have like constantly new ones. Is the
Mm-hmm.
I get on it, like we're just because I'm like that too. Like I'm like, I need a foundation for my business, but I need to be able to go all over the place. Well, I'm not
Yes.
sure me this way, I got to do that thing, right?
That's right. That's right.
Theoretically, you should be launching like my energy scan training program right now to my list, but instead I'm talking about the power of surrender and come to my retreat, where I may offer energy scan training there, at the end of the retreat or in the middle or whatever, but I may offer it there, but on a logical level, it doesn't sound like a very smart marketing tactic. Like, okay, that sounds like a one-off or more, from what you teach. But then I see it totally different, right? Because we're creative. We're like, no, it's totally connected. Like, we're gonna follow our own sense of connection because there's so many rules and concepts about how we're supposed to market ourselves. And
Yeah.
for people like us, like we can't listen to that stuff that much. We can take in the information. Hey, thanks for sharing. We just go do what feels true for us, right? So like
Exactly.
right, like we're
Yeah.
totally like on the same page with all that. So for you, you have one or two hub courses, maybe. Just calling them hub courses, and then the hub courses, I think, one of the things you're avoiding to then, like you said, is really being willing to honor the power of the work that you do where you are charging a lot more. So I feel like you would have just, going through this quickly right now, but high level groups, like I feel like you would have higher level groups. It may not be like, hey, 50 grand or something, but like, whatever, even 5 or 10,000 or something like that. But like higher level groups, like, because you can do your courses, then you could have a higher level group from that feels, or it could go right to one, right? So we've got all that going on. And then but getting back to just even what you offer now with the one-to-one and what you said, energy alignment with that pricing. So I hear the concern, like you're really concerned, like what this is usually the concern and what I thought I was hearing in your energy. But what if for some reason it just doesn't work out so great? I mean, what if it isn't perfect enough? Like something like that. Like it's gotta be right. It's gotta be right. The integrity is like so strong.
Mhm.
So what could help you? What needs to be in place so that you can charge? Because I believe you have numbers in mind, like, oh, probably would love to charge, more and charge this amount, but the integrity, got to make sure it's right, and got to have the right people. They've got, maybe they got to take action, all that stuff. Like, how can you set it up so that no matter what, you'll feel like you're in integrity if you were to raise your prices more and all that? Like, let's start there, and then we'll talk more about your tribe and alignment and some more other things. Yeah.
Yeah. What do I need? Well, I feel like there's some incongruence, right? That between, like, I don't really have an amount in mind, right? And
Right.
yet I want to be congruent in a way. So whatever blocks are keeping me from being congruent is
Yeah.
what I need. So
Getting
congruent being that, um, the value of what I offer is seen by the people who want to be affiliates, who want to take the course, and honoring the spiritual work, right? To sing that, be able to sustain myself so that I can continue to do this work,
Right.
not as a survival means, but as a thriving means, so that I'm never concerned or worried about money, so that I can focus completely on service, right? Being an act of service. And so being congruent with that, and also yeah, I guess that basically sums it up, really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, maybe something like a webinar sort of model could work well for you, like to have, because you have a lot of information to share and you have a lot of gifts. You could share your gifts and your information on these, basically, call them like conversion events, right? So like you bring them into the webinar, you talk about the subject, and so what is your top course? Like, what is your course you love the most right now anyway?
The course that I would love the most right now, I haven't actually produced yet, but I have an outline for, is Embodied Leadership. And then you
Yeah.
talked about 2 hub courses. The other one's your Divine Destiny.
Divine Destiny. Okay. Okay. So let's say it was Embodied Leadership. Okay. Or Divine Destiny. Okay. Let's see which one. Should we talk Divine Destiny? Yeah. Back to Embodied Leadership. Okay. So what is it that, okay, people say, oh, that sounds cool, but like they don't, like the subject, the title itself isn't like, all right, I'm ready to sign me up, so seeing as that it doesn't create that right away, what is the thing that people will receive that just is like, oh, I gotta have that, like I have
Yeah, that's finding the right words is definitely a work in progress for me, right? Having the right language that gives people a real sense of what to expect. Like some of the wording that I was using around it was harnessing your passion into purpose. And then I got a lot of feedback on that, right? There's a lot of talk about passion and purpose, but for me, like using the passion framework, we're harnessing that into purpose. So like your soul's purpose, not your life purpose, because everything in our life serves a purpose. So I never really liked that word so much, life purpose. We have multiple life purposes. We have different assignments and roles we play. Sorry.
Can I interrupt?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like maybe I've got it. Like, because
Okay.
what stood out for me is when you talked about ascension. What if it's embodied leadership for ascension?
Embodied leadership for ascension. Wow.
See, now that's
Yeah,
got,
I love that.
like people are like, the right people are like, whoa, oh my
Yeah.
God, ascension. I gotta get into that.
Yes.
I gotta check it out at least, right? Like,
yes.
what is it? I want to know what that is. I want to be a part of that. So, and you can always have your subtitles and all that stuff, but like, I'm just saying, like, just for today, like you create a webinar or something like that on that exact title, perhaps, or maybe something else. But you have people come into that, they're gonna be like, oh my God, and you have all this information, you're gonna be able to tune into them, the way I do in your own way, but like tune in and see what's going on for them and what needs to happen for them to step into that embodied leadership for
Yes.
and they're gonna be like, when you get to the offer, they're like, okay, where do I need to sign up? Because your courses aren't like thousands of dollars, right? They're gonna be in the hundreds of dollars range is what I'm feeling. So
Yeah.
that's a no-brainer. And then once they get into that, like there's always going to be more after, I don't know how long this course is going to be, if it's going to be up to 12 weeks or whatever, 6 to 12 weeks range maybe. But after that, then people are going to need and want much more support. That's where you can put them into, even if you start with a $3,000, next step or something, or 5,000. I would say if you're going to go to 3,000, you may as well almost go to 5,000, because psychologically, mostly people, I don't see that much of a difference between that. So,
okay.
Yeah. And, studies show it and everything. So there you go. So I'm super excited. I'm like, okay, we're, let's get this thing rock and roll. Let's do it right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. That's awesome. What a breakthrough.
right there, right?
Yeah.
So a few other things as we're on the back nine of the show, so to speak, or at least it's just I just want again just present some things in your energy and chakras, just to point some things out. Um, as it relates, let's relate it to something specific, like again, like okay, the integrity, is the integrity there? I feel like with this subject alone is going to take your sense of integrity to another level. Like you're just feel like, whoa, this is what we're doing, I know I'm helping deliver that, and as long as it's the right person, right? So I feel like that's going to give you more confidence with your pricing too. So I think we're good there. But yeah, there is a visibility issues just overall. So when I
Mhm.
look at the crown chakra, it's kind of like in their overall aura, it's like you're showing up. I mean, you're doing actions to show up, but it's like, oh, I don't know if they should see too much of me. That's the vibe I get. So
Mhm.
so it's a shroud kind of like over you, or like the word bag came over me, like a bag over you, like just okay, I just gotta stay safe. Like the more I show up, like yeah, the light people come, but also the other energies come. Hey, we like you. Like you're like, oh crap, get the hell out of here, right? So that's also what I'm saying. So you need to step into your fierceness. That's what I was talking about in the beginning of the show. Like
Mhm.
there's the fire of passion. I feel my fire. But there's also like a fire, fierceness, steel energy. Like I like for me, it's like it gets represented in the sounds of heavy metal or something, right?
Yeah.
Or in classical music, right? Like da,
Mhm.
da, 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 or whatever, like like
Yeah. Yeah.
no messing around. So I feel like you definitely have that in you. For you, it's like a powder keg. Like I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Boom! Like like with your like with you when you occasionally might blow up a little bit, like it's like a powder keg. It builds and builds and
Mhm.
builds. Oh. And so instead of it being that way, you can just be like, you can tune into like how it is when you get like that and start
Mhm.
channeling from that energy like on a more regular basis, and then it won't have to keep building up and then be like more like, oh crap, now I feel guilty, I shouldn't have been like that, like when that may happen for you. So or even if it feels good, that it just seems like, well, it's probably a little much though. Couldn't it be better, that kind of thing. So that's one way you can do it, is just like, okay, I know what that energy feels like, I need to be bringing that more consistently, otherwise that part of me that wants to express that, just like really comes out then when finally like enough's enough. It's like that part's like, we're taking over, bam. Like so that's what I'm getting, is to integrate more of that way of being into all this work. And I feel like that'll be super, super duper powerful.
It's really
You're
helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, where you're so strong, and your energy is like the third eye energy is just amazingly powerful. And, you know, yeah, so yeah, I mean, you can kind of just like in a good way, like hypnotize, like people have a negative connotation to hypnotism, but like sometimes, but like you can kind of hypnotize people with the power of the energy radiating through your third eye. It's like,
Mm.
okay, Jennifer, like, and everything with your energy magic. So
Mm.
so that's good. And yeah, the throat chakras opening up more and more. It's just being willing overall in your energy to be willing to show up more. And then yeah, as we go through the heart, yeah, you still some privacy stuff, like keep that in. You're very, can be very, well, like verbose and everything like me, like share a lot from your heart, but like there's still like part of the vulnerability of you that's like, okay, whoa, let's just keep it here, right? So because again, there is a fear of vulnerability for all of us. Like we gotta feel we need protection, when in truth the more vulnerable we can be, as long as we're got that fierce steel in there to some degree as well, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be actually celebrated. We're gonna heal ourselves more and heal others more. So just want to share more of that. And then in the power center, it feels like there's different levels you go to. It could be like there's a push-pull energy. So sometimes it's like, all right, let's go. Let's put our foot on the accelerator. that? All right, let's go by the ocean. Let's just take a look around. And so there's some of it's a natural, but some of it's just like it's still in a framework where it's not just authentic, but it's like or natural. It's just the most natural you that you are, but it's more like, okay, we're kind of controlling this thing, like so like releasing this control mechanism there is part of what wants to happen, so that it's more of a steady flow, coming from there. And then the sacral energy, you love to play big, and like so that's your big thing, is like you need to be willing to start playing big. I also was getting earlier that you really want to just really, like, I feel like so many people listening, again, X%, but like they don't honor themselves as business owners. They're like, I'm just this coach and a healer, and yeah, I have a business. Of course, I want it to thrive, but I'm a coach and a healer, and I'm coach and a healer. You're a business owner too, all right? Like, you gotta put that more in the front seat, like not the very front seat, because without that, it's like you're just kind of in this flowy energy, right? And that's fun, it's good, until you look in the bank account. It's like, shit, I'm not being supported. So it's like when you put the business owner up front, we're like, all right, we're detailing things, we're making 100 contacts today if that's what it takes. Like,
yeah, you really own it, right?
We're doing 10 webinars this month or whatever, and whatever it is that needs to be accomplished, then you're going to get done, because hey, I'm committed is really kind of what it is. It's like I'm committed to business owner to get these things done. So I would get into more like your root chakra and all that as well, grounding that, being rooted in that with a commitment, and then realizing, oh, I can play big now. I can play big. I'm owning my power. I'm grounded. And now that I'm grounded, I can play big. But if you play big when you're not grounded, it's like, oh crap, things blow up, things could get messy. Like, I don't know what's happening now, right? So it gets overwhelming, and all this stuff goes on. So the more you just get grounded, and just, because I can see you being very, you're always sweet, you're always going to have that, but like all that good stuff, but like I can see a very serious business owner side of you that's in you, that just wants to come in and get embodied within you, and get grounded. And when that happens, I feel like open for business, we're ready to rock. I get more of that energy coming through that. And then that playfulness is like, oh, we can trust to do more things now. That's the vibe I'm getting. Anyways, so as we're beginning to wrap up, any feedback and thoughts and all that I just shared?
I think it's pretty accurate, Daniel. I think you read me well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. So anyway, looking forward to seeing what unfolds from what was shared today. And whether I do scans for a minute or so with people, or if it's for these longer periods of time, X amount of people, like, man, huge things happen for them. So I'm looking forward to hearing if that happens for you. So it's always so much fun. Anyway, so as we're beginning to wrap up, I would love for people to be able to learn more about you and connect with your work and your shows and everything. So yeah, I'd love for you to go ahead and let them do that. Now they got to know more about you, and a lot about your business too, but like get to know you in so many ways, that you're so magical, you're so filled with heart and dedicated to ascension and helping people become embodied and leading the way with that. Like, that's what this show's all about. So definitely need to check Jennifer out and experience her magic. So how can they do that?
Well, we're definitely in all of this together, right? As Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home. So I'm hoping this inspired and empowered you, and I would love to talk to you some more. You can check out my website at lightingthepath.ca. We can have a free complimentary discovery session. Let's chat for a half hour, just see how we connect. There's also a guide to living your passion and purpose that I have a gift for your audience. So welcome to that. I'm sure you'll provide the link. You can also find that on my website. And check out our Wise Women Wednesdays YouTube show, and also the Wisdom Speakers and Seekers podcast on Spotify.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Check it out. Check out our episode. You can hear the flip side, kind of, like how.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank
Awesome.
you so very much.
Good thing. And
Mhm.
last thing is just if people want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com, and there is a chance to apply to get an energy scan with me to a consult. Yes, you do need to be seriously looking for a change to apply. All right. So yeah, I am scaring you away if you're not ready for it. Okay. So, only for those that are ready to rock. All right. And then there's also the free meditation there, meditate and make money meditation. Open up your energy, let the energies drop in that allow you to receive the messages and attunements you need to allow yourself to let it happen and let the money flow. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And by the way, again, I do scans of all that. So you're like, hey, could I just kind of get a scan and not be have the, if you're afraid to meet with me one-to-one, which I swear is like an issue for some people, you can always check me out at Rock Your Sacred Purpose Facebook group. I do energy scans Mondays at 3 p.m. Central. So you can check me out there and look forward to it. All right.
You have your retreat coming up too, right, Daniel? For
helping promote my retreat. Thank you. Right now. By the time this comes
well,
out,
I know people would love that. So, don't hold back.
Right. Well, I don't know if it'll come out, by the time of the retreat. But yeah, I do have a retreat up April 28th to the 30th. So yeah, so definitely if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me if you happen to receive this before that time. Anyway, okay. Well, Jennifer, any last words for everybody?
Just free your spirit to direct the life that you were meant to live.
Yeah, totally.
Be you, do you.
Yeah, listen, Jennifer's done that. She's in her own business. She's doing her own thing. She is out of the so-called rat race of life, the programming conditioning. She is ascending and leading the way. And so yeah, absolutely. Listen to her guidance. Take advantage of what she has to offer. All right.
Thank you.
It's so awesome to have you on today. And for the rest of you, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast.
Woohoo!
Bye for now.
Bye.
Listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.